He went from being the co-host to the #1 show in America to being an Uber driver. And is that a problem? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and this is a very interesting story, and it comes out at a very interesting time. See, I recently drove for New Year's Eve. I've always admitted, like, New Year's Eve is the one night of the year that you could definitely get me off my butt and go to drive because you can make good money on that night. Now, people kept telling me, like, oh, well, it's, you can make money one night, aren't you glad it's here? And it's like, well, no, making money off this one night does not excuse the other 364 days. Give or take a few days, depending on if there's a UFC match or not. But the thing is, there is some truth that I am glad that it's there for that one day at least. And I'm glad it's there for people who are in rough situations. Now, that's the first thing. The other thing is that we've been having this trend recently where, as we've been finding out in many ways, just because you were once on a show does not necessarily mean you are set for life. Sometimes your star fades a little bit. Sometimes you're part of a show that does not make money as it used to, and you have to go back to taking a real job to make money. Now, this situation gained new prominence when a former actor of The Cosby Show was discovered working at Trader Joe's. And he was, people said, shamed on the internet, and I think that's a good word. They shamed him like, oh, you were once on The Cosby Show. Now you're working at Trader Joe's. And it's like, well, you know what? Yeah, maybe Bill Cosby and a couple of the other main cast members got paid very well for that show, but he wasn't a main cast member. He was a supporting character that showed up every few episodes, did not get paid nearly as much. And here's the other thing about the Cosby Show. Not as many stations air it. And when not as many stations air it because of the, now convicted, main star, Bill Cosby, the royalty checks dry up. So, you know what? You never know what can happen. And he found he needed to go back to Trader Joe's. Now, the media storm that surrounded that did ensure that he is acting again, and now he actually even proudly wears his Trader Joe's name tag, and I'm sure Trader Joe's is more than happy to let him do that. Well, this week we found another story of someone who used to be on a very, very popular TV show, most specifically American Idol. And he wasn't only on the show, he was one of the singers, he was a co-host for the first season. I actually remember this guy because I was watching American Idol since season 1, and it was like the last few seasons I stopped watching, and I've never gotten back into it. And he was okay, honestly, he kind of sucked at his job. I'm not gonna lie. That's not to say he can't be good at anything else, but Ryan Seacrest just had so much more charisma. He hosted circles around this guy, and that's probably why he was let go. Well, it has been discovered, like TMZ, the piece of garbage journalism, hellhole that place is known as, found out that he was driving for Uber. He was driving for Uber. Now, here's what the USA Today article says, because I do not want to give any attention to TMZ if I can help it. Amid a divorce and custody battle, former American Idol co-host Brian Dunkleman defended now being an Uber driver after TMZ published some of his financial information and job status. Which, by the way, TMZ, that is not news. What someone makes, what they make, how they make their money, that is not relevant to anything ever. Is he skilled at what he does? Well, how much money does he make? Doesn't really matter. Maybe it matters if it's like, oh, well, this basketball player makes this much money and this basketball player makes this much money. That might indicate where their skills are. But why do you need to post this man's financial information? It didn't make any sense. Dunkleman, who co-hosted only the first season of Idol with Ryan Seacrest, listed his occupation as an Uber driver in financial documents as part of his divorce, TMZ reported. Now, I am going to step in for a second, and we're going to make a little side comment here. Why would someone put in that they are an Uber driver on their divorce papers? Well, there's usually one reason, and this is probably worth talking about in another video. I know Drive Girl Drive did a video because she went through this situation. I don't know if she's still going through it. I should probably ask her, where her ex does not have to pay child support because he's an Uber driver. And Uber is an independent contractor status, therefore wages don't get garnished. So if you want to be a deadbeat dad, there actually is a financial reason to drive for Uber. I'm not saying necessarily that's what's going on here, but that is why most people put being an Uber driver on their financial report. Now, continuing. The TV personality then took to Twitter to explain and push back on any perceived job shaming. He wrote on Twitter, "I chose to stop doing stand-up comedy and started driving an Uber so I could be there for my son as much as he needed after our life as we knew it was destroyed." Print that. Which, you know what, that's fine. If that is the reason he became an Uber driver, then that is a perfectly good reason, and I can even respect that. That's one of the reasons I decided to make a video about this topic, not because I want to get into tabloid gossip on this channel, but because this presents a very interesting dilemma for me. So, continuing, TMZ also reported how much Dunkelman had in his checking account, paid in rent and earned as a driver, saying it was around $800 a week, which is definitely a step down when he was probably making on American Idol, and maybe even what he was doing I don't know, but stand-up's a really tough gig. I mean, I made a couple $100 to do a stand-up gig once, but after that it was pretty much free, and I didn't pursue it too much longer. Dunkelman had another response for the celebrity gossip website. "And I make over $1,000 on a good week," he tweeted, adding a profanity and calling them #human barnacles. I actually agree with that. the hashtag, that is. Some social media users quickly defended Dunkelman, including comedian Orny Adams, who said there's no shame in honest work. And there isn't. And some of you are probably raising your eyebrows a little bit right now. Just trust me, we're going to talk about it. I know there's an elephant in the room here. Like, here's Jim Lokay on Fox 5. "Why shame Brian Dunkelman for being an Uber driver? He's making an honest living. Did we not learn a lesson from shaming former Cosby Show actor Jeffrey Owens for working at Trader Joe's?" So, anyway, similar to Dunkelman, former Cosby Show actor Jeffrey Owens also recently faced job shaming when photos of him working at Trader Joe's in New York surfaced. So, anyway, that's the situation there. Let me go to the tweet so we can have it there. So there you go. So there's a few things that you can take away from the story, and then I'm going to talk about why this story probably hit home a little bit, because it is interesting that this pops up after, the whole, New Year's Eve thing where I drove for the first time and people called me a hypocrite because I always tell people not to drive, except I'm an entrepreneur and I like to take advantage of good opportunities, and New Year's Eve is a good opportunity for Uber drivers. Here's where things get really complicated about this whole situation. I don't know exactly why he's doing Uber. Again, there is a very good tax and alimony reason to be driving Uber if you owe child support. I'm not saying that's exactly what he's doing, but it's potentially there. But his official reason is that he wants to spend time with his son. And you know what? I am going to absolutely accept that this time. I'm going to absolutely accept that that's the reason he's doing it. And Uber does allow you to have a very flexible schedule, and it's something to fall back on when you need to. It's kind of like Walmart or McDonald's. I don't think anyone actually wants to work at Walmart or McDonald's, but it's a good job to fall back on. Or some people do want to work there. They are just doing this for fun. They want a little extra money. It's not a great job, but it doesn't require much from them, so they will do it. And so it's nice that these jobs exist. So here's where my dilemma comes in, because I fully admit that it is nice to have Uber and Lyft as a fallback. And I'm sure if I was ever in a very bad situation, heck, I'm not even in a bad situation right now, and I still turn on Postmates and Caviar for a little extra money that I need, and I will probably be doing that quite a bit in the next few months because I'm getting married, and weddings are not cheap, especially when you want Disney-themed weddings. My God, why did I have to make that joke to Katie? I just said, hey, maybe we'll have a Disney-style wedding. It was just a joke, and then she grabbed it, and you don't want to disappoint her. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Boy, it's 7 more months. 7 more months. Okay, here's the point. Here's the point. I don't blame people for going to Uber when they need to make money or when they need more time with their kids. Here's what has always bothered me, and this is why I get offended when people with better options don't, they work for Uber. It's because Uber preys on this desperation. They absolutely prey on the desperation. You know what? If you want to do Uber for fun, you know what? I'm not upset at you necessarily. You just want to do something for fun, that's fine. You feel like you can hack the Uber system, and I have seen people hack the system to really good money. Not a lot of sleep, but really good money. And hey, if that's what you want to do, if you feel like that is the best way you can make your money, then you know what? For you, that is a good thing. Where I get very, very frustrated and even very mad is when I see people like Brian, and they kind of almost need Uber. And there's other people who they need to do Uber. They don't have a choice. They don't necessarily want to do this. They just don't have any other options. And those are the very people that Uber take advantage of. When they cut the rates, and the people in that situation, they have nothing else they can do. They have no bargaining power. They are stuck doing Uber. And they have to take whatever bad or raw deal Uber actually gives them. And that is where I get very, very upset. Now, some people might say, oh, you just have to work the system, know your market. There are some markets out there. Granted, where I live isn't one of them. I'm sure there's hacks out there I could be doing, but I make more money on YouTube and e-commerce and writing anyway. So that's where I focus a lot of my energy on. But there are some areas that, frankly, no amount of knowing your market is going to help you. You will always be making either just below minimum wage or just above minimum wage. And then you're paying your own expenses and everything. So this is a very odd situation for me to be commenting on. Because, again, from what I have read here, Brian is, in fact, being a very good father. He is doing what he has to do for his son. But you know what? People who have to do this for their family should not be forced to work these really, really terrible conditions with very bad pay. And I know some people are going to say, well, but look at him. He's making over $800 a week. You know what? Whatever he was making now, had it been 3 years ago, he could have doubled it. Maybe he could have even spent more time with his son if the rates were what they were 2 years ago. So, I'm sorry. That's my stance. I know some people don't like it. You know what? Let's talk about it. Because this is by far a very, very nuanced situation, and I do want to hear your opinion on it. So, you know what? Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And if you enjoy these videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my exclusive blog for Patreons. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. And also, one more thing. Has American Idol actually improved? I haven't watched the revival, but I can't recall who the winner was last year, and I don't know if anyone could tell me without cheating. So that would be interesting. If anyone actually watched it, can let me know below. Okay, have a good day.